Here's a pretty hard truth that I've learned over the last, 20 plus years. Most business owners have no idea what operational stability really feels like because they've never experienced it. Yeah, they've built revenue, they've built teams, they built success on paper, but underneath it all, they've just built chaos. So let's just say it plain. Most businesses are actually just duct tape together, and most leaders are that duct tape. So if you've ever said, I just want to feel like the whole thing isn't riding on me every single day, this is for you. Because what you think you need, another tool, another great process and systems framework, even another hire or another 3 a.m. idea, you actually don't need that. What you really need is stability. Now, not the boring kind, not the corporate checklist kind. I'm talking about the kind of operational stability that gives you your time back, it gives you your power back, and it gives you your peace back. Now, this isn't a side upgrade. This is the actual foundation. So let's talk about what it actually is, what it's not, and how we can start installing it into your business before the chaos costs you more than just your energy. So let's start with clarity. Stability is not about control. It's not about micromanagement. It's not about putting your business in a straitjacket. Stability is actually about rhythm, structure, and flow. It's about building a business that knows how to move with or without you hovering over it 24/7. Now, here's another hard truth. Most leaders are addicted to being needed, to putting out fires, to being the hero. But guess what? Being the hero, it's exhausting. And when the whole system depends on your cape, you're not leading, you're babysitting. Now, stability gives you your brain back. It gives your team their power back, and it makes growth something that you can actually enjoy instead of barely surviving. Here's how you know that you don't have it. Let's say you start your day already behind, and your team brings you all these problems but no solutions. Maybe your calendar is filled with decisions that no one else feels confident making. And the second that you try to take a break, things all start falling apart. That's not just pressure. That's an architecture problem. And it's fixable. So, what does it actually feel like to have it fixed? Let me paint a little bit of a different picture here for you. You wake up and you know exactly where your team stands. Your calendar reflects the leader that you are, not the manager that you've been forced to become. Your meetings have real purpose, and your team knows what they own, and then they actually go and own it. You might take Fridays off on purpose, and things actually keep moving. And maybe the most important here, you're not thinking about your business every second that you're away from it. You're not asking, what's on fire today? You're asking, what's next? Now that's what operational stability gives you. Space to lead, clarity to decide, and the margin to actually breathe. Because freedom doesn't come from selling more. Freedom comes from a business that works without grinding you down. Now, there are 3 foundational elements that we install inside every business using empowerment design. These are not ideas. They're not frameworks that live in a binder on the shelf. They're real, tangible shifts. First, you need weekly check-ins, not wishy-washy meetings, real rhythm. Each week, your team meets with one goal, clarity. What's moving? What's blocked? Who owns what? Now, here's why this really matters. Because rhythm builds trust and it forces visibility. And it gets your team thinking ahead, not reacting to what's behind them. Every client I've worked with who was stuck in chaos, this was the first domino. Because rhythm restores alignment. This is the silent killer of small businesses, a lack of role clarity. If you're still the traffic cop for every single decision, you're not really leading a team, you're managing a hallway full of lost kids. Even with 3 people, you need structure. Now, this means a simple, clear organizational chart. That means clearly defined ownership for every role. And that means decisions pass that don't always land right on your desk. Now, here's why this matters. Without structure, people always default to you. When you're the default for everything, you become the bottleneck for everything. Now, let me be clear. Structure isn't about restriction. It's actually about acceleration. Flow means you stop being the human instruction manual. Your processes need to live well outside of your own head. Now, I don't mean locking yourself in a room for a week and just writing out all those SOPs. I mean screen recording your next quote. I mean, maybe voice memoing the way you actually handle scheduling a job. I mean, actually capturing how it actually happens so that someone else can really do it. Why does this matter? Because delegation without documentation is just disaster. Without flow, your team stays stuck, asking you how to do things you shouldn't still even be doing. So when we combine rhythm, structure, and flow, chaos becomes clarity, and firefighting becomes foresight. And leaders, they become free. Let me show you what this looks like a little bit in real life. So Mark was the owner of a solid service company. Their revenue, it was pretty decent, but their turnover, it was through the roof. And his people, they were really loyal, but they were always lost. Everything flowed through Mark. Quotes, approvals, scheduling, drama, discipline, even printer issues, right? So we installed rhythm, weekly check-ins with real structure, and we gave him a real org chart. We documented 5 core processes, just 5, using nothing but his phone and his actual workday. So the result of that, revenue went up 30%. For the first time in years, Mark unplugged. He created this great brand with a great team. Now, Aaron is another guy. He had a great team, a great brand also, but he told me, I feel like every good week comes with a collapse the next week right after. Because there was no rhythm, there was no visibility, and there was no leadership at the middle layer. So we installed a leadership cadence, and we gave his operations manager authority to own scheduling and dispatch. And we created 2 layers of real-time feedback. And that made everything from onboarding to maintenance trackable in flow. So let's fast forward 6 months. Aaron was completely out of the daily operations, and techs were actually upselling, margins were up, and the business felt lighter for everybody. That's what this work does. It doesn't just fix broken things. It frees strong leaders from being the glue. Now, if you're listening to this and you're nodding your head, and if your gut is saying, this is what I need, then stop patching and start building. DM me the word stability, and I'll show you exactly how we do this inside our clients' businesses using empowerment design. No pre-built frameworks that you have to shoehorn into your business. No gimmicks. Just the structure that actually supports your success. And listen, this is just the beginning. In the next live, we are going tactical. We'll walk you through where to start with systemization. Not in theory, but in actual practice. And I'm going to give you 2 to 3 quick wins that you can install immediately without overhauling your entire business or spending the next 90 days planning. You don't want to miss it. Tuesday, be here. This is step 2 in empowerment design. And we're just getting started. Here's what's going to come up next. Step 3, we're going to focus on financial empowerment and profit architecture. Why profit feels elusive and how to fix it by designing it into the bones of your business. Step 4 is about cultural cohesion by design. How to stop letting culture drift and start building a team that reflects your values even when you're not in the room. And then step 5, we're going to activate personal leadership mastery. Your business can't grow past your capacity to lead. We'll rebuild your leadership habits from the inside out. And then step 6 is about strengthening empathy-based leadership skills. This is why the future of leadership is emotional intelligence and how to install it without losing your edge. Then we'll move to step 7, building decision-making confidence. We'll kill indecision at the root and install decision frameworks that make you faster, clearer, and way more confident. Step 8 is installing the entrepreneurial leader system. This is how to stop carrying your team and start empowering them to actually lead. And then step 9, create independent accountability. Sounds great, right? We'll show you how to move your team from follow-up to ownership so you don't have to babysit anymore. And then finally, step 10, expand the ripple effect. We'll finish by pulling it all together, showing you how to build a business that creates freedom, wealth, and legacy that lives well beyond you. Now, this isn't content. This is a movement. Stability doesn't slow you down. It launches you. It sharpens your decisions. It powers your team. And it gives you the room to lead, to live, and to build something that actually lasts. So if you've been duct taping your business together just to make it to the next quarter, Let this be your shift. Not into more hustle, not into more noise, but into more design. Because real leadership, it always starts with structure. And structure, that's what really sets you free. So I'll see you next Tuesday, same time, same mission, same movement. And let's build what lasts together. I'll see you on Tuesday.